on the third floor of the Rhode Island State House, a segment we simply call Capitol Spotlight. We try to grab a few members of the General Assembly and talk about some of the things they've been working on and how it may impact all of us here in the Ocean State. Gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome back a woman that we've talked to many times, the Honorable State Representative Teresa Tanzi. Representative, good to see you.
Great to see you as well, Dave.
And you represent a district that is about to start getting very busy because it's a big tourist spot and great recreation and beaches and water, and I would think your local merchants must be gearing up about now.
Everyone is. In fact, we were nominated in Narragansett as one of the most relaxing seaside places in all of the United States by Coastal Magazine. So the final votes are coming in, and we'll see if we win.
Well, let me tell you what, you won't get any argument from me. I spend a good deal of time there in the summertime, just up the street at Bonnet Shores. I love that part of our state, and I know your merchants will be very, very busy this summer. You've been busy here inside the Rhode Island State House. You've been working on something, a real health issue. It involves smoking, the consumption of tobacco products. You want to see the age raised to 21 in Rhode Island. Tell our viewers about that.
Sure. So there is no state currently that has the age up to 21, although there are 59 cities throughout the country that do. And those are scattered through 7 states, and Massachusetts has really led the way. So Needham, Massachusetts in 2005 raised the smoking age, and they saw just a precipitous drop in the amount of smoking that was done by teenagers. To me, it is about the data, and once you begin to look at the data, it's staggering. So most people who smoke, they began before the age of 21. 90% of people do. So if we can stop this type of addiction at an early age before it gets started, I think we are really ahead of the game. But in Needham, Massachusetts, there was a 48% drop in the number of older adolescents that smoked. And the number who became daily smokers was reduced by 62%. So that's one little town that did it all by themselves over a decade ago. And the results are clear, and I'd like to bring that to Rhode Island.
You know, some years ago, I served on the board of directors of the American Lung Association, and obviously smoking was a big issue with us. And when we were doing so many great things with educating people about the ills of smoking, and we were watching smoking on the decline in the United States, that one category that always stayed really solid and there was some growth, now my figures are old, were the very young adults and the late teens, those people that were using tobacco products. Here's my rub, however. I couldn't agree with your legislation more. It's probably the single biggest health risk that we have in our country today is smoking cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Yet our country federally is involved in taxing the cigarettes. They sometimes subsidize tobacco growers. They're part and parcel with the business. On one hand, we say it's no good, people shouldn't do it. Yet, on the other hand, our federal government is sometimes in business with these folks.
I don't know that the federal subsidies exist anymore, to be honest. The Farm Bill a couple years ago did a lot to wipe those subsidies out, but the data is just undeniable. What the cost is to the state of Rhode Island. There's a lot of talk these days about bending the cost curve, about changing Medicaid. We were asked to reduce the Medicaid budget in the state by $90 million. And we've got to find a very innovative way of doing it. And to me, this is the perfect policy to enact to make that happen.
You know, where I buy my newspaper in the morning at this little convenience store,
Yep.
I'll often be behind somebody that will be in there just buying 2 packs of cigarettes. And they give the clerk a $20 bill. I mean, it's also extremely expensive. It's extremely dangerous. Where is your legislation right now about this age of 21? Where are you at in the process?
We just had a hearing in HEW, House Health, Education, and Welfare, and we had an amazing number of people who showed up. We had some folks in the public health realm and lots of pediatricians. We had lots of physicians. The Rhode Island Medical Society supports the bill. Overwhelmingly, there were people in support. I will say that those who do own the convenience stores came out and opposed it, especially those who live on borders, who live close to the border of another state. But the research shows that only 2% of their sales come from that age group. So 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are only purchasing 2% of all of their tobacco products. And, I think that the savings overall to the state are well worth a 2% reduction in one item in their stores.
And they're in it to make a profit. And, I'll tell you what, it's been arguments like this and other healthcare givers that have made such a very good case of getting to our young people about the ills of smoking that's actually forced the tobacco companies to third world countries, have sent them overseas where they're still gaining market share. I think you're clearly on the right side of the issue here, and I wish you the very best of luck with this legislation. And providing you're successful, you can probably take comfort in knowing that you're saving a few lives.
And there's even data to support that. 16,000 of youths that are alive today, their lives will be saved. It just shows that preventing this addiction at this level is key to the long-term success of our public health.
This is what's the very best about government. Representative, thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure. Always good to see you.
And of course, we could not do it without you. Thank you so much for watching. For Capitol Television and Capitol Spotlight, I'm Dave Barber.